Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever struggled with converting your vintage analog audio to crispy, clear digital sound, you're in for a treat today. Stick around as we unpack the features of this COKYISS RCA Optical audio converter. All kinds of different inputs that we're going to show you how this works. This is a really multifaceted converter for you. Why would you need something like this? If you have things like vinyl, you have things like cassettes, you have things like DAT players, things like that where the only output is these RCA output, or maybe 3.5 millimeter output or something like that, or maybe optical, any kind of digital output like that. Or this has Bluetooth as well that you're able to convert and be able to record it locally, create MP3s, things like that, so that you can convert that stuff, be able to have it on a hard drive and do it that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to get it plugged into my system so you can hear how this works. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to power it in. I will say that the power cable is not very long. Maybe you need some sort of extension cable in order for you to do that. It's very easy to plug that in here. You're going to see that this is now powering up. I had already powered it up. This is a sort of a tactile button that pops up when it's powered off, and when you power it back on, you're going to see that this tells you that the power's on, and this is going to start lighting up because I have switched it over to Bluetooth mode here. I'm going to be coming out of the headphone jack, so everything that you're going to be hearing here on this particular video is coming out of your headphone jack. One other cool thing that I noticed here is it has a 1/4-inch headphone jack as well as a smaller headphone jack, so you don't necessarily need a converter if you have headphones that have the smaller 1/8-inch output for your headphones. This is a very solid device. Right out of the box, this feels very premium. It's not just about the looks, it's about what's on the inside that counts, and so we're going to get technical a little bit. Just know that this has a DAC chip in it, or a digital to analog converter chip in it that we've tested through, and it works very well, very good quality, and I'll show you how everything works. Each one of these knobs, you'll see this has EQ here. When you get to the middle, you're going to feel it go in, lock in the middle a little bit, but it stops right there. I've noticed this, even though it's locked into a center, this is a little bit off center. Not that it matters, but you'll be able to listen to how the low end is. We'll be able to pull in something. I'm going to dial up some royalty-free music and play that here. We'll be able to test out, and you'll be able to hear how everything sounds here. And then, of course, your main level, your direct in here, and then your recording out. What I would suggest here is to just, if you're going to connect this to your computer via USB-C, that you just want to keep the levels low and then just dial them into your needs. And of course, when you're going from this device into your computer, you want to keep it at relatively low volumes before you start adding a bunch of stuff. Otherwise, it's just going to clip and distort. So always be careful there. So it does have a 3-band EQ, high, mid, and low, which is very interesting. You can almost kind of master the files as they're coming in. So maybe if you've recorded something, or it's coming off of a particular tape or device or something like that, and you feel like, oh, you know what, I need to cut the mids a little bit, and I'd like to dial down the low end and maybe up on the high end, you can do that here really easily. And of course, this is your headphone level, which is coming out of here at this point. As I mentioned, you switch to Bluetooth, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull the device up. So when you connect, it shows as hi-fi audio. So as you can see, I'm going to disconnect my Bluetooth on my phone, like that it has disconnected here, and it is in pairing mode. It's flashing. So when I turn on Bluetooth, it's going to find the hi-fi audio and it will connect, and I'll click on that, and I had to click on it, and there we go. We're now connected here. So I'm just going to pull up some royalty-free music, and we're going to bring it in here. I'm going to bring the levels in. Okay, you should start to hear it. And I'll get it to a fairly loud level. It sounds, and I'm bringing the levels up on the headphones, so that's bringing up the level here. We're going to let it kick in. All right, so that's about a decent level. It's a little bit lower than my voice. Okay, and I'll start to add the EQ. Bringing in some of the high end. It's a little bit too crisp. They're bringing some low end. Let it kick in. You start to hear that low end kicking in. Bringing the mids out. Bring the mids up. A little bit too harsh. That sounds pretty good right there. So you can see, real easy to utilize that, and I'm going to bring down my levels like that. So that's just the way to do it. Now, if you can imagine doing the same thing with maybe your vinyl albums, and you plug in left and right to these RCA inputs, right? Your headphone level won't matter in terms of your recording level. So you want to make sure that you set your recording out levels. So as you would use your own digital audio workstation on your computer, however you're recording that. Of course, there's free options like Audacity, but anything that you have that's maybe built into your computer that would accept recording of an audio or some sort of interface, you'd accept that as your interface, and it would be brought in as audio, and you would set your levels in your digital audio workstation in order for you to record things like tracks from an album or a cassette or something like that. So this is really good for, I believe, utilizing what I just showed you, which is the Bluetooth audio. So maybe you have this hooked into your system, and your system doesn't necessarily have a Bluetooth, but you can just plug this in as an auxiliary input to your sound system, and then all of a sudden you've got the ability to put in all kinds of other things in stereo via a Bluetooth or anything else, optical, RCA, things like that. So it's a really interesting way to pull things in. A lot of people use this as well for maybe their television, the audio that comes out of their television. Maybe they want to EQ it so that they're able to hear it better locally. Maybe they want certain EQ, or they want to amplify it in some way, shape, or form. People are utilizing this as well to be able to do that. This has Bluetooth 5.0, so that gives you that seamless audio transmission from your devices, whether it's a smartphone or a tablet or maybe even a laptop, directly into the sound system. Under this hood, there is that DAC chip that guarantees a top-notch signal integrity, sound quality. So it's clear and detailed audio, as you can hear, and we'll just bring that up for you to be able to hear that again. A different track here. So there you go. Whether you're upgrading your home entertainment system or refining your professional audio setup, or maybe you just have a bunch of cassettes that you want to digitize into MP3s, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please let us know.